What is up, GRITR Texas fam? Gabby and Josh back for another fun video for you guys. This is Shoot and Move episode number 4. What are you really aiming at?
Yeah, that's right. So your grip is solid, your stance is good, but you are still not putting your rounds where you want them to be. What's up with that? Well, in this video, we're going to talk about it. All right, since Gabby's got these nice, young, crisp, clear eyes and I'm kind of an old fogey, she's going to be running the iron sights and I'm going to be running the red dot. So we're going to talk about our respective differences. I don't actually think people know how old I am. That's interesting. We're not going to talk about it. Anyway, go for it.
All right, so I typically run iron sights. That's what I'm used to. I have a Glock 19X. That's what I use. That's usually what I carry, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But basis is I run iron sights, and that's what I really started learning how to use, and that's what I'm using up to this point. So for me, in the very beginning, it was very difficult to understand what I should be seeing. That was one of my main struggles. I really didn't understand sight alignment. I didn't understand sight picture. And those, if you're new and you're a beginner, that might all sound like weird, lingo. But at the end of the day, it's what are you seeing? Do you understand what you're seeing? So let's talk about it. I'm just gonna step back and I'll talk you guys through what I'm seeing and really how you can get that sight alignment and sight picture. All right, so let's step back. Okay, so I'm just gonna present out and then talk about sight alignment first, and then I'm gonna move on to sight picture. So first things first, sight alignment. Essentially aligning your front and rear sights. And so if I set out and I hit the grip, all of that is on point. From there, I'm looking at equal height, equal light between my front and rear sights, meaning that rear sight is smack dab. So I'm looking for, once again, equal height, equal light. And that is our sight alignment. Okay. Now, sight picture is a little bit different, and this is probably what I didn't understand for a really long time. Especially with iron sights, you really have to learn how to volley your eyesight and almost look through your sights to the image behind it. So I will present and I'll kind of talk you through my process. So first things first, sight alignment. All right, so I'm aligning my sights on my intended target, right? I'm looking for that equal height, equal light, and it is right on top of my target. Now, what I had trouble seeing before was basically that sight alignment being on top of my intended target, which is your sight picture. That's how you find your aim overall. You have to have both sight alignment and sight picture. And again, for me, it was understanding that it's not just your sight alignment, because you can be aligned as much as possible, but if you're not on target, if you're not seeing that full picture, you're not going to be accurate. And of course, again, that comes with grip and stance and all these other things. And that's my process. And it is almost hard to, again, if you're a beginner, it's hard to explain that if you're not behind the firearm yourself. So, have a practice firearm and start to just practice aligning your sights and getting it on a target. All right, let's see what Josh has to say. Do you have anything to add to that?
Honestly, that was pretty spot on, right? I would say the one thing that I frequently see, especially with newer students coming in, they don't completely understand the concepts between sight alignment and sight picture. A lot of instructors will say, try to stay front sight focused, right? Which is good, right? Like we're trying to make sure they are focusing on the most important part of that whole picture, right? However, Gabby will have you take out your firearm real quick. Okay, go ahead, aim out. Once again, a lot of instructors will say, hey, remain front sight focused. And the student goes, cool. Right? Because they're trying to stay front sight focused and then they neglect their rear sights, which means all of those shots are going up. So what I tell people, once again, equal height, equal light, make sure you are looking through those rear sights and lining them up with that front sight. Once again, sounds super simple, but for a new student who doesn't totally understand the concepts yet, that can throw them off. And now let's talk about my favorite way of taking aim, and that is the red dot. Now, I really appreciate the red dot because there is no front sight and no rear sight. I was taking a class a long time ago and I was trying to take a 15-yard shot and I was like, ooh, hold on. These sights are a little bit blurry than they used to be. So I started practicing with the red dot. All you really have is the dot. If you shot rifles before, then you probably used a red dot before, right? There is not a whole lot of information that is happening. It is just the dot. I take that dot and I place it on top of what I want to shoot at. I kind of use the stained glass window analogy. If someone said, hey man, there's an awesome 1967 Shelby Cobra GT 500 sitting outside, and I look out the stained glass window, well, there's a whole lot of different colors, mosaics, all that kind of stuff. I really have to focus outside of that window in order to see the car. Well, that is our iron sights. With the red dot, someone says, hey, look at that car. I just look out the window, it's nice and clear, and there is my point of focus. That's kind of how I explain the red dot. So a lot less clutter for me. Once again, all I have to do, point of aim, point of impact, place that dot, what I want to shoot at, and there we have it. So one thing, especially with iron sights, is eye dominance, right? Which eye is picking up the sights the fastest? Now, remember when we first started, we found out that Gabby is right-handed, but left eye dominant. So Gabby, kind of walk us through that process. How did you find out which eye was your dominant eye? How did you work through that? And how did you kind of clean up your sight picture?
For sure. So first off, you got to figure out which eye is dominant. And it's super, super easy to do. I'll show you how to do it really quick. So you can take a target. You can take just any kind of picture that's around you, maybe just a spot on the wall. It doesn't have to be really anything, as long as you can lock on to one specific spot. You're gonna take your thumb, it could be either side, doesn't matter, and you're going to put it on that intended subject matter, right? Whatever target it is, whatever sight that you see, put it on top of it, okay? So I'm covering it up, right? And then from there, you can see that, which is interesting, is that you can actually see through your thumb, right? And this is gonna kind of give you an idea of what you can do whenever you start getting your sights and your sight picture, etc. Now, that's beyond the point. We have our object covered. Let's say I close my left eye. What happens is, now I'm no longer covering that object, right? And now if I switch eyes, okay, my left eye, because my left eye is dominant, it's going to look the same as when both eyes were open. So I'll go through that one more time. I cover the object. I'm covering it completely with my thumb. I close one eye. It moves. I know that that's not my dominant eye. I switch. Okay, it's covered up completely again. That is my dominant eye. So you got to find that out first. So I am left eye dominant and right-handed. That kind of, in the beginning, made me very, very confused. I, again, did not understand what I should be seeing. And especially in a kind of a lower light situation, I had an easier time if I was outside and bright light, like an outdoor range, etc. But once I stepped inside and it was less light, my eyes had a very, very hard time understanding what they should be doing. Okay, so for me, what Josh helped me to discover was, okay, well, let's put a few tricks. Let's put a few tricks into your, basically what you're doing with your eyes, and see if we can get you more adjusted to what you should be seeing. So what we did was, because I'm left eye dominant and I'm right-handed, what can happen is you can end up being just left or right off target, right? Just because you're not sure, again, I'm not sure what I should be seeing, right? So what we did was I started to just squint my right eye just a little bit, not fully close it, but just squint it so that my left eye can take over. And once my left eye took over, it's like, okay, I know what I should be seeing. My sight picture is there. And, you know, I can give the same advice for a right eye, right-handed person. It's like, okay, if you feel like maybe you don't know what you're seeing, even though it's right and right, try just squinting that other eye until your eye takes over. And you'll get that better view of what you should be seeing. Now, a lot of people, I'll let you volley off of this, but a lot of people think that you should close your eye. And to be honest, I think that is a crutch. You know, again, what works for you is what works at the end of the day, right? But I think it's better to have an understanding of what you're supposed to be seeing, both eyes completely open. What would you say about that?
You know, it's the age-old question, what's best, shooting with both eyes open, shooting with one eye closed? And my answer is what you said, whatever you feel the most comfortable with, right? I've seen guys who shoot with both eyes open. I've seen guys shoot with one eye closed. I've always been taught and have trained myself to shoot with both eyes open.
Right.
I prefer that. I can see more of my world. However, I've gone to plenty of competitions where I've had grandmaster shooters shoot with one eye closed the entire time, right? Ain't no way I'm stepping up to one of those dudes and be like, hey man, you should shoot with both eyes open, but they're working better, right? While they're smoking me in this comp.
Right.
So it's however you train, however you feel comfortable, and Gabby hit the nail right on the head. Once she figured out what she was supposed to be seeing, now she shoots with both eyes open. She doesn't even shoot with like a head cant or anything like that. She's just straight on because she understands what her sight alignment needs to be and what her sight picture needs to be. Once you figure all that out for yourself, man, things just start falling in place.
Yeah.
So whether you are practicing with your iron sights or a red dot, the key thing I think Gabby and I can both agree on is practice, 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 rep after rep after rep after rep. There is floating around out there's a video of Gabby shooting some bottles, and they're like 15 yards away, right? And she murks these things, like absolutely amazing from the draw and everything. And I had the biggest smile on my face after I saw that video, right? Because I know how far she's come in such a very short amount of time. She's a great student. She picks up things really quick. But for you, you may take a little bit longer kind of figuring things out, especially with the iron sights. With the red dot, there's also a learning curve. There was a learning curve for me. And the same thing, man. It's not super sexy. I stood in front of the TV and I had draw after draw, presentation after presentation, so I can find that dot quickly. So my presentation was super consistent and I understood what I needed to be saying. What do you think?
100%. And I will just say, for me, it really unlocked when, again, I understood what I should be seeing. And I've said that like 10 times in this video, but seriously, once you understand, not just, okay, you know, I've done it today. Like, no, get your reps in and do your dry fire and understand, like, that is what I should be seeing every time. And if you can get that consistent, then you can and everything else falls in place, right? Your stance and your grip and all these things, you can be on target and you can be accurate. And then, you know, then you start working on the things like speed and then from the draw and then your drills and etc. movement. But for me, what truly took me to getting more accurate was understanding my sight picture and my sight alignment.
Yeah. Once you figure out those fundamentals, those basic principles, like Gabby was saying, everything else just kind of starts falling into place. I tell everyone all the time, fundamentals are what are going to save your life in a bad situation, and fundamentals are what are going to allow you to have the most fun whenever you step onto the range, because ain't nobody want to step onto the range and miss all of their targets, right? We want to hit what we are shooting at, and that's also just the responsibility of a responsible shooter, right? We are responsible for every single round that comes out of our barrel, so we want to make sure that that round goes exactly where we want it to.
All right, GRITR Texas, that has been episode 4 of Shoot and Move. And for me, I think this was one of the most important ones. I mean, you know, again, fundamentals, we've talked about a lot of those things up to this point. And once you get your repetition in, that's it. Just keep going. Just keep repping and keep exploring things, right? In the beginning, what was so frustrating for me is not understanding and not being consistent with my reps, because I did not know what I should be doing, right? So get your reps in, find a good instructor, find somebody who really knows what they're talking about and who's willing to work with you and be patient with you and willing to volley questions and answers off of you. And maybe, why does this happen? You know, am I supposed to be seeing that? How come I felt like my sight picture was there, but then, you know, my shot's way over there? So team, get your reps in. You know, if you haven't seen episodes 1, 2, and 3, very important. Make sure you go back and watch, especially if you're a beginner. I mean, these are a great place to start in your journey. And, you know, come hit us up here at GRITR.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. So fundamentals, like we talked about before, great foundation, episodes 1, 2, and 3. This isn't anything super sexy, guys. It's not anything advanced or anything like that, but they are the basic sound principles that we believe will turn you into a great, even amazing shooter. So we want to make sure you have those solid in your repertoire and in your tool belt. Gabby has come a long way. I'm super proud of her. Like, I almost shed a tear when I saw that video. But as she was saying, make sure you guys stop in, come say hello. If you want to come shoot with us, please do that too. I'm always down for some shooting. Come shop around in GRITR. Make sure you are following us on all of our socials. Like, comment, and subscribe. Guys, we'll catch you on this. Okay, that's the whole video. Go on now.